Mr. President, a week ago, I stood in this chamber and spoke about the death of democracy. I spoke about how free people are slowly losing their basic liberties right in front of our eyes. I spoke about how a deeply oppressive regime is defiling laws and tearing up treaties that offer protections and peace. I spoke about how the bright light of a great city is descending into darkness and chaos. I spoke, Mr. President, about the plight of the people of Hong Kong. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind everyone, both at home and those listening abroad, about the urgent and existential crisis that plagues this outpost of liberty in the Indo-Pacific. On May 28th, the Chinese Communist Party in Beijing adopted a resolution and began drafting a new national security law in Hong Kong. That's what they call it anyway. But the more we learn about this impending legislation, the more concerned we should be. That's because we know that this is no legitimate law. I'll tell you what this is. It's a diktat from a dictatorship, and its passage will deal a mortal blow to the freedoms and liberties that Hong Kongers have enjoyed for decades now. It is a permanent break from the one country, two systems principle that has governed that city since 1997, the principle to which Beijing committed in the 1984 Sino-British Treaty, when they also committed to upholding the basic rights and liberties of the people of Hong Kong. But Beijing wants to violate all of that now. They want to sweep it aside, and they want to do it through so-called legislation adopted through their fake legislature that would roll back the commitments they have made, roll back the protections and rights of the people of Hong Kong, snuff out this light in the Indo-Pacific. Imagine this great city with new restrictions on speech and assembly and religion, because that's what the Chinese Communist Party wants. They call it a national security law. It doesn't have anything to do with national security. It has everything to do with ending liberty. It has to do with banning the freedom of assembly. It has to do with squelching the freedom of speech. It has to do with denying the freedom of religion. That's the agenda. That's the substance, Mr. President. That's what Beijing wants. And it's what they're going to do unless the free world, beginning with the members of this body, stand up and say no. Mr. President, this body must take action today to support the people of Hong Kong. It must speak with one voice. It must tell the world that this is not acceptable and that it must not stand. And free peoples the world over must not silently acquiesce. Now, a week ago, I tried to do just that. I asked this body for consent, unanimously, to pass a resolution that would condemn this new diktat from Beijing and emphasize its clear violation of both Hong Kong basic law and the Sino-British Joint Declaration. This resolution that I am here again today to offer, sponsored and supported by senators of both parties, would make it clear to everyone that the United States stands with the people of Hong Kong in this, their hour of need. It would encourage the administration to take all necessary diplomatic action to stop this new law, to stop this advance against freedom. And it would rally the free nations of the world to support a free city. That resolution was blocked last week. And you know, Mr. President, here in this body, we often have the luxury of time. It seems like that's all we have sometimes. We debate and we wait and we debate, discuss. But the fact is, the people of Hong Kong do not have time. Not anymore. And that means the United States Senate does not have time. We must act, and we must act today. This new so-called law that Beijing is intent on forcing through is set to pass now on June the 30th. That's just 5 days from today. The Senate needs to act now, Mr. President, to send a clear signal now that we will stand up to this aggression, to rally free peoples now in defense of the rights and liberties of Hong Kong, and to stand up now to protect our own interests, to protect our own needs in the Indo-Pacific, because there's nothing more dangerous to the people of the United States abroad than an imperialist China intent on imposing its will, imposing its way on the entire globe, beginning in the Asia-Pacific, beginning with the free people of Hong Kong. Mr. President, a chorus of voices from Hong Kong and around the world are calling for the passage of this resolution. They are calling for it because they know it will inspire hope in Hong Kong. They are calling for it because they know it will give pause to the tyrants in Beijing. Our friends in Hong Kong know that Beijing is watching closely. Beijing is finalizing its national security law even as we speak, and Hong Kongers know, as we must, that this could be our last opportunity to stay Beijing's hand before it destroys what is left of freedom in this city. Beijing must know that its actions have consequences. This resolution today makes clear that that will be the case, and that is why so many in Hong Kong are so eager to see it pass, and why Beijing is so hopeful that it will fail. As I said a week ago, the struggle of the free people of Hong Kong is the struggle of all free people everywhere. It is a struggle to stay free from domination. It is a struggle to ensure that Beijing does not extend its imperial power around the globe and its influence to free countries and societies across the globe. Mr. President, Hong Kong is the vanguard, and it's vital that we stand up for it now. So, Mr. President, I ask unanimous consent that the Foreign Relations Committee be discharged from further consideration and that the Senate now proceed to Senate Resolution 596.